Dun dun dun.
And he totally went right for it.
Hey there, I'm Tricky, and welcome to Hunt Showdown, a turn-of-the-century shooter with a simple goal: find the boss, kill it, perform questionable voodoo practices to send it back to the Shadow Realm, and kill anyone trying to stop you. Commit acts of animal cruelty while crossing through one of the 3 maps currently in-game. These maps have many named locations which present areas to fight in, such as the Chapel of Modelo Negra and
Yo, what do we have here? Ram Ranch, it rocks. Cowboys love big herd throbbing cocks.
Yeah, dude, I was getting my ass clapped. Not gonna lie.
We lived up to the name
Fuck
Ram
God.
Ranch.
Going to and from these areas, you'll traverse forests, fields, and swamps filled with hot tentacle action. Once you arrive at the boss area, which you narrow down by picking up clues, highlighted as blue in your dark sight mode, you need to dispose of them. Pay careful attention to that flashing white diamond. If that turns red, it means other people are nearby, and they'll probably want a piece of that ass.
We just want some booty. That booty. That booty. Save some for me, partner.
The clues can also turn red if people are nearby.
Still here. The clue's raging right now.
Most people will attempt to deal with the boss somewhat quietly, or they may just use sticky bombs to do it quickly. There are currently 4 bosses in the game. First is the Assassin, which is incredibly annoying because it never stays the fuck still.
I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Thankfully, it can be cheesed with poison. Next is the Spider, whose attacks can poison. It also never stays still. Next is Scrapbeak. When you damage him enough, he ejaculates barbed wire and drops items onto the ground, and his boss area stops to make you think, damn bitch, you live like this? Finally, we have the Butcher, who is the reincarnation of an internet legend. Once thought lost to the world, he's come back. Harry and Gross, 23, affectionately known as King Ass Ripper. He revived after being locked in the prison.
Oh shit, fuck my roommate's door. Oh, sniff that. Ready for more?
After you kill the boss, you have to banish them. This process takes several minutes and broadcasts your location to everyone on the map, so be on the lookout for booty warriors.
I came looking for booty.
After the banish finishes, you pick up the bounty tokens and either go to the next bounty or get out. When you pick up the bounty, you'll get 5 seconds of wall hacks that show any enemy within 150 meters as a blob of Fanta. However, your location will be visible to everyone on the map, indicated by lightning strikes. Players can use the lightning strikes in dark vision and on the map to approximate where you are to within a few meters. Ideally, you kill everyone else and take a leisurely stroll to extract as you farm enemies. Speaking of enemies, you'll encounter zombies that need to be dealt with as well. The most annoying of these are the Hellhounds. They rush you and make you bleed when they hit. So, channel your inner ATF agent and get rid of them. Next is the Immolator, who can only be dealt with safely using blunt melee weapons. Try to shoot it, and this happens. Alternatively, you can just shoot it with a poison hand crossbow bolt and avoid burning to death. Fire in this game permanently lowers your total health pool when it burns off a bar. The only way to get it back is to start banishing a boss.
Oh shit! Oh Lord Jesus! Oh Jesus! Get the water, nigga! Jesus Christ!
Next is the Meathead. He's tanky, hits like a truck, and is thick. The leeches that follow him around will poison you, which makes him able to see you. He uses the leeches to see, as he has no head. The easiest method to kill one is to just sticky bomb it. Upon death, they'll frequently drop a free trait for you to pick up. Speaking of traits, these are available in the upgrade screen for your character. These are purchased using upgrade points, which your character gets after surviving a match or taking them off of walls. These traits can make dealing with certain aspects of the game significantly easier, such as Bulwark, which lets you not get ass pounded by frag bombs. or Serpent, which allows you to interact with clues from a distance. You can also remotely grab the bounty with it. Necromancer is the same thing, but for reviving teammates. There's also Beast Face, which lowers the range that will set off animal-based sound traps. Sound is incredibly important in this game, and setting off one of these traps gives away your position to anyone within hearing range. That doesn't, however, stop you or your teammates from blindly walking into them. Now, to the weapons. All weapons in this game have a slot requirement, varying from small, medium, and large. Unless you have the Quartermaster trait, you can only take 2 mediums or a large and small. Since there are quite a few weapons, I'm just going to list a few of my favorites. Some are single-shot breech loaders. The most notable of these is the Sparks, which you will know for sure that that's what hit you when it does, because getting hit with a Spark Note leaves you on literally 1 fucking health. If you're missing any HP, you go down. The strategy most employ with these breech loaders is to hit someone, then whip out your secondary to finish them off. There are also lever actions. These are some of my favorite weapons in the game because the levering trait allows you to spam them when you hip fire. There are several shotguns in this game, all of which are incredibly powerful at close range, as they all can kill in one shot. My personal favorite large slot is the Nagant Officer Carbine, which almost feels like a semi-auto. Most of these large slot weapons also have melee variants as well, typically with a bayonet. There is a Mosin Nagant in-game, but one of the variants you can buy is a burst fire. I did not misspeak. It's a 3-round burst bolt-action rifle, which oddly enough is based off of an actual conversion of a bolt-action rifle to full auto. It is entirely a meme weapon, as it's effectively a slightly more accurate shotgun, and is incredibly expensive. Another incredibly expensive weapon is the Nitro Express. It's a literal elephant gun.
Well, that's a good gun.
It's used to turn the game into a point-and-click adventure. That being said, the iron sights on it are atrociously bad. The name of this weapon in our group became the Discord Nitro, which eventually turned into the Zoomer Groomer. The Romero Hatchet, which looks like some shit a cartel would make. It's a sawed-off, single-shot shotgun with a fucking hatchet blade strapped to it, allowing it to replace a melee weapon. There is also the Obrez, which has an incredibly cursed drum mag variant. A bow and arrow was added in the Light the Shadows event. It's pretty fun. There are several melee weapons available, and they all one-shot other players aside from the machete. Small weapons are usually revolvers and pistols. Note that all but one revolver in this game is single action. This means that your character has to manually cock the hammer between shots. With the fanning perk, however, you can rapidly dump the cylinder. You can also dual-wield pistols, which takes up a medium slot. My personal favorite is the Caldwell chain conversion, because you get like 17 shots. One last thing is that weapons have custom ammo. The effects of these rounds range from causing bleeding to arrows that shoot out barbed wire. Tools are non-consumable items that replenish at the beginning of every match. These range from small melee weapons to first aid kits. There are also choke bombs.
They don't even have choke bombs for them? Like, damn, dude, this is cold-blooded.
Which are mostly used to put out fires when someone tries to burn your teammates. In this category are also traps. Traps can also be used to block off entrances to a building. One thing you must know is when a trap is gay or not. These traps are gay. These traps are not gay. This trap is very gay. Know the difference between the traps, because you may need to make a trap not gay to leave a building.
Okay. That trap gay. Okay, there we go. Now it's okay. It's time of unrest and uncertainty. Only one thing we can be sure of. Traps ain't gay.
Moving on to consumables. There are fire bombs. These are used mostly to set downed enemies on fire when you don't have a lantern.
Fire, fire. Shut up, butthead.
There's also various forms of performance enhancers. Hitting the juice will allow you to sprint and spam melee attacks for several minutes. There are antidote shots to negate the effects of poison. Most importantly, there are vitality and regeneration shots, which let you quickly heal and get back into the fight. You can unlock various forms of explosives. The sticky bomb is a fast way of dealing with bosses, and the frag bomb is the bomb of choice for PvP. The concertina bomb is the weapon of choice for being an absolute cunt. You can block off entrances, exits, or throw one on their down teammate's body. Flash bombs are a consumable that can blind you both in-game and in real life if you're playing in a dark room. Yo, real shit though, before I unpause this, if you're watching this in a dark room, you may want to squint for the next few seconds.
Ow! Ouch! Oh, that hurt.
Now, to my favorite consumable, the Hive Bomb. It's a jar of fucking bees, which you give a healthy shake before throwing at people. I, for one, welcome the future where we will be throwing mason jars full of murder hornets at each other. To see how to unlock weapons and equipment, there is a library tab with a list of everything along with unlock requirements. Scrolling down will show some of the lore pages, which can be unlocked by reaching a certain experience with that weapon. This also applies to the pages about monsters as well. To equip everything that we just went through, and to have a character to play, you'll need to recruit a hunter. This is done from the recruitment page. The difference between standard and legendary hunters is that legendary hunters come with 3 random traits, and the RNG is weighted towards the more valuable ones. Once you have a hunter, double-click anything to add it to your loadout. Now that we've covered the tools of the trade, let's talk about the maps and fighting, because in Hunt, the two are intimately linked together, as the dynamics of a fight vary wildly depending on the location. Any gunfight at a range of more than 20-ish meters devolves into taking accurate pot shots at each other. This is because damage in this game is incredibly high. Every gun can kill in one shot to the head, and most will take off half of your health from even a single hit to the torso. This is made an even bigger problem when you are revived, as you lose a chunk of health each time you go down. If you realize a fight isn't going your way and you want to bail, hopefully, the game didn't put the extracts on the opposite end of the map from you. Building hitboxes are very well done, which allows shooting people through narrow gaps in wood panels and brickwork. You can also shoot through wood panels. Being able to close in on people with a shotgun in certain areas can make quick work of an entire enemy team. This also applies to dual pistol loadouts.
Nice.
Not repeaking the same angle is very important. For example, here, I did in fact see this person, because I was watching the zoomed in map and they had a bounty. I backed away from the window because I assumed they also saw me. Some locations make the fights incredibly difficult for bounty carriers when you can constantly relocate, or there are a shitload of entrances to cover.
I punched her to death!
When you have the bounty, you are put at an incredible disadvantage, despite having Fantavision, as you are visible to everyone else as well. Recently, they changed it so that you can revive someone even if they are missing all health chunks if you have the bounty, which has somewhat evened out the asymmetrical balance of fights, but can still be countered if the attacking team simply pushes. Sometimes you can just take the bounty and peace out if two teams decided to fight each other instead of you. You can also choose to just extract at any point during the match if your teammates lacked more than 2 brain cells and decided to approach the boss area from the worst direction possible. In any case, fights in this game are varying, and can be over in a few moments if everything goes south. or can be incredibly drawn out with everyone creeping around to avoid making noise, sometimes out of fear of losing their loadout. That, however, does no one any good when you trade with the last person left on the map. Before moving on, I will state that the game is balanced around co-op play rather than solo. This is part of the reason why the Sparks does exactly enough damage to leave you on 1 health. If your teammates even tickled them with damage, they go down. As such, if you plan on playing solo, keep in mind that the game, although possible, is not meant to be played that way and is not balanced around it, so I recommend that you always play in a group. Moving on to sound design. In my opinion, it's very well done, because although it isn't realistic, it fits the aesthetic. I personally prefer the weapon sounds which match the feeling of a Western movie over the realistic sound of shooting an Obrez without hearing protection. Walking over different surfaces has enough variety and are distinct enough to make locating enemies with sound practical. As I mentioned before, sound traps are in this game, but they aren't just limited to the loud animal variant. There are things randomly hanging around inside buildings that make noise, and broken glass that makes a distinct sound when you step on it. Though I haven't bothered to memorize the locations of each sound trap, knowing them would certainly give you an advantage. And now, for the visuals. I'll just let these clips speak for themselves. All of the footage I've shown so far is from the Bounty Hunt game mode, which is what most people play. Although I've never played it, there's an entire other game mode called Quick Play, which is a Battle Royale style game mode. This apparently has a much larger player base than I originally thought, and you can use the hunters and their loadouts from it to play Bounty Hunt if you survive. There are also single player trials which give you rewards, but I've also never done any of those. Let's list out the bad. To be blunt, the game kind of runs like shit. It's not terrible, but while graphically impressive, it suffers a bit in performance due to it. You may find yourself having to turn settings down to get the desired frame rate. I've also had occasional issues with stuttering. There are some odd LOD issues even on max settings, and some weird rendering glitches as well. The game sometimes has server issues.
Yeah.
Woo-wee, this is some lag shit.
I've experienced enemies literally spawning in the room I'm in. My friends have experienced getting stuck on fences or inside of buildings.
So I'm actually stuck here.
Typically, AI animations are quite good, and most first-person animations as well. Especially bullet grubber reload animations. Although, I do sometimes have issues with the antidote shots. Third-person animations vary wildly, however. Some look quite nice, while others...
Tricky, look at this shit.
They also sometimes just glitch out. The loadout UI lacks some basic quality of life features like the ability to drag and drop items onto slots. Some world objects are placed with little to no quality control.
Oh, why'd you tell me that? That's gonna bug the shit out of me, dude. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no, look at this one. And the candles, too. What is this, Beauty and the Beast? It's some college intern.
Their monetization policy is somewhat concerning, and some of the cosmetics are a bit hard to see. I can overlook this, however, as I can only assume that the success of this game is the sole reason Crytek hasn't gone bankrupt yet. The community is a bit of a mixed bag, like the cringe teammates who swap their loadout for a cheaper one to match the group before clicking ready, or teammates that try to kill someone who needed to go AFK just so they can get out faster. I just sat back and enjoyed the show. Now to the good, because despite what I just said, the community is still better than a lot of other shooters. You might expect gamer words to be thrown around constantly, but I was incredibly surprised that I never had that happen until over 100 hours in game, and it didn't even happen on a bridge. regardless of that, the community doesn't make the game boring and only adds to it.
Oh fuck, he's from Florida, we're fucked. We got some fucking redneck fucking cousin fucker over here, he's gonna kill us all.
The cosmetic system isn't as easy to get through as Deep Rock, but it's just cosmetics. The fact that they give you premium currency by playing is a plus. I quite enjoy that the game doesn't feel like an absolute chore to play. It's like Tarkov Lite version minus the existential dread I feel playing Tarkov. The weapon and gameplay dynamics are incredibly unique, but very simple and straightforward to pick up, and Hunt, despite its flaws, scratches an itch I didn't know I had. For my final rating of the game, I give it 8.5 Ram Ranch Cowboys out of 10 US Marines.
They caught you at the border too?
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.